welcome to Play It Out. I've got a great guest on the show for you. Before I introduce him, he was on 2 years ago with his feature film Inspector Calls. He's also an award-winning actor and director. So let's take a look at his new movie, Voodoo Man.
Who's coming to see? Don't come to see me, come to see. I have an excellent herbal remedy for hair loss.
No, I need your darker services.
In order to complete the remedy, I need the name of the man you wish to die.
So Jason, Farries, welcome to Play It Out. Thank you for coming back on the show again. So tell me, would you like to introduce Voodoo Man?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me back as well. It's good to be here. It's been a little while, hasn't it? What's it been, like 2 years?
Yeah.
Is the last one, but it's so good to be back. Yes, we're doing. So Voodoo Man is the next film which we have produced. It's a short film, and I don't want to say too much about it. But,
Come on.
I don't want to say too much about it. I'll give you the gist. I'll give you the rundown. It's basically about a voodoo witch doctor who grants the wishes of people who come to see him, and most often than not, they have a bit of an ironic twist. So be careful what you wish for is kind of the moral of the whole film.
Ooh. Amazing. And you play one of the characters in the film. So tell us a bit about your character. I think you are Voodoo Man, aren't you, in the film? Or not?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very scary, must I say, actually.
It's cool, isn't it? It's cool. It's something totally different. I mean, the character itself, I could probably talk about for hours, you know, but no, essentially, yes, I play the voodoo witch doctor, who a particular inspired makeup that we based off of the Spanish festival Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do this. Hopefully, it's a decent Spanish accent, but I do an attempt at a Spanish accent throughout.
You do it very well when I listen to you. Yeah, it's quite sexy, actually.
I'll take your word for it.
Very well. And how did you prepare for that character then? How did you prepare for it, really? Because, you know, it's quite a hard character to play, isn't it? Especially with doing a different language as well. So, like an accent. So. Yeah,
you know, it was funny. I mean, I could talk about my process for forever, you know. But no, I think the process behind Voodoo Man was, you know, it was very much an instinctual sort of building block process where while we were writing, I had a very strong idea of what the character needed to be in terms of the story and the way that he would interact with his clients. He himself has this profound knowledge of the spiritual world and these voodoo rituals and practices. And so what I did is I sort of went inwards and said, what is he about internally, and how to project that outwards. Beyond that, though, it was mainly sort of looking at you know, influential Spanish actors. I mean, Antonio Banderas was the inspiration for that particular voice. But then we just took a little bit of Spanish as well, and we threw that in there, and it's
Can I just say, Antonio Banderas is an absolute legend.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I mean, I love him to bits. And I mean, trade secret, but I watched Zorro before preparing for the role.
Yeah. I love Zorro. Yeah. And the makeup. What? Because how long did it take to do the makeup? Because that must have took some time, mustn't it? Because, you know, I've seen the backstage scenes and it looks amazing what they do, and they're so creative. It's just crazy, isn't it? Like, so scary, you know.
It's brilliant. I mean, the makeup artist, my makeup designer was Nastasia carapace. She's a fantastic makeup designer. And what I essentially said to her is, I've got this idea for a character who is a voodoo witch doctor, and he's face painted just like Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead makeup. And I gave her some reference images, and she came back with this wonderful concept and wonderful design. And then on the actual day of shooting, it was very much like, right, sit in the chair, getting this done. I think it took something like 3 hours to do.
Wow.
Because she really was meticulous about it. I mean, the makeup doesn't just extend from the face. It's the face, the neck, and then it comes down into the chest, and then there was a little bit done on. So it was very highly detailed. She put a lot of detail into it, and she's amazing. She really is. I really do owe her a lot when it comes down to this film.
Did you not? Yeah. Did you not look at the movie and think, "Oh my God, it's me"?
So surreal, because I'm wearing contact lenses in it as well, and so the whole thing together, you're just a bit, But in that sense as well, it really does help you to get into character, because you suddenly feel like people look at you differently. That's very helpful.
Would you ever go shopping in that character, Jason? Can you imagine being like Tesco or Marks and Spencer's? Oh.
I mean, why not? It's 2020. It's not the weirdest thing to happen this year.
That is true. Yeah, that is true, isn't it? Crazy things happening at the minute, isn't there? And going back to the film, what would you say are the key points that make the film then, in terms of Voodoo Man?
I mean, the film.
Yourself, Marker. Oh God, Marker. Yourself, Jason. I said your character's name or whatever. You said you, Jason. You need to say you.
I wish it was me. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it, but I mean, from my perspective, I'd say there's 3 or 4 things that really make the film, and actually they have nothing to do with me, which so in my personal opinion, I'd say that one of them is definitely the visuals. The photography was done by Benjamin Ely. He's a fantastic DOP, and he really understands lighting very well. And I think what he achieved in the atmosphere of the film really helps to capture you visually. And then, on top of that, and working in hand with that, is the design, the production design. My designer, Emily Stanley, she did all the props and the set. And what she did is she handmade all of the different ornaments around the set, which, a lot of them were made from jars and bits of like plants and twigs and pipe cleaners and all sorts. But she made it look really authentic, which added again to the visuals.
Yeah.
Then of course, the makeup was something that was really big. That's a big part of it, because that's very much the statement of the film. It's the way that face is painted is something very capturing.
Yeah.
And I'd say lastly, I mean, one of a key, I mean, if we're talking about key points, I'd say the music was something that adds to it as well, because again, it just builds that atmosphere. And and I have to give credit to my composer there, because fun fact with him was our composer Alexander Proudlock. He's phenomenal at what he does, and he asked me one question. He said, "What is there any key instruments you'd like for the music?" And I said, "Oh, what would be really, really funky, really, really, work well with this is a didgeridoo." And he didn't bat an eyelid at that. He sort of went, "Okay, didgeridoo, that's pretty cool." And then he learned how to play didgeridoo, which his commitment is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, going back to the scenes, Jason, you mentioned Emily did set the scenes for the film. How long did it actually take her? Because the scenes, it's so dark and sinister. It looks like a massive film set, but it's actually not, I believe. So how long? Did you all get your hands dirty, or was it just Emily on her own? Or you know what I mean? Because it does look like a really big film set. I'm guessing that's the magic of the cameras, but when I watched it, I was like, wow, looks quite a big film set. And it looks as though you've got a teepee in there as well, by the looks of it.
It was a very clever thing that we sort of designed and constructed.
Yeah.
You know, it is quite interesting. The set is one of the most interesting features because it was made in this tiny little green screen studio in my old university, and
oh, wow.
and they just kind of said, you know, we're happy for you to come and film here for a day or two, and so I'm really thankful for SAE Institute for allowing that. And what we sort of did is, and I can really, you know, this really encapsulates how frugal our filmmaking is, because what we built the set out of just bits of scrap wood and scrap cloth and just anything we could find. I mean, we built these frames, these wooden frames, out of my sister's old bed frame that she was getting rid of.
She's sleeping on the floor now, Jason, is she?
Yeah, no, just took the bed frame away, you know, because she didn't need it.
I'm glad she participated. That's right. She gets a credit. Donated the bed.
And we built that. So we made a frame out of it, and then we hung some bamboo fence on it, which we just grabbed from the garden center, just this bamboo fence. And once we'd constructed that as the sort of walls of the Voodoo Man shack, then it was very much about, okay, let's hang some cloth here and some rope here and some bits of decorations. There's a skull, you know. And then that built the entire design. The rest of it's all clever lighting, clever camera angles. But I mean, I had a tiny box. I shouldn't say, but I have to stand on one spot in the film because if I move, I had about 2 steps either side of me where I could move.
So you even got with a broken leg?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing was put together by string, so I think less of a broken leg, more of just set collapsing on top of you. It was really good, and Emily was the designer, and she did an amazing job. I'm really proud of her.
No, she definitely did. From what I can gather, from when I saw it, it looks brilliant. Honestly, it looks like you're at Shepperton, you know, doing the studios there. It looks absolutely fantastic. Can you tell us one of the scenes that went wrong, or anything that gives a little glimpse of anything that went wrong on set?
Oh, I mean,
so many.
I mean, every film set has its problems. Every film set has its problems. But I think the one thing that really stands out more than anything is that while we were shooting on the day, we had some practical effects, some smoke effects, and we had some candles and all sorts of different, you know, mystical things. And for the best part, we were absolutely fine doing all that. And then sometime into the afternoon, we set the fire alarm off. Which was, you know, that was fantastic because, of course, we're then stood there like, oh no, oh God, we're all going to have to evacuate. There was no danger, but we still had to evacuate, as is policy.
Yeah.
So the entire university is standing out in the car park. You can just imagine that they all turn, see me in full costume and makeup, and go, I bet he did it.
It's your fault.
It was my fault. It was guilt. They might as well have stamped guilty on my forehead because, God, I mean,
did you get the dagger eyes, Jason?
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah. And then a talking to by the principal because, you know.
That's it, to the corner.
Yeah. And we still finished though. So we still got everything done, which thank goodness.
Yeah. And what do you think actually went well as well then? What do you think went well in terms of the scenes? Like what scene would you say was the best that worked for you? You. Being the Voodoo Man. I'm picking you up, Jason.
I love you for that. I absolutely do. I mean, you fill me with such confidence coming here.
Good.
God, something that went well. I'd have to say that there's this one particular moment in the film which, for me, was going to be a bit of a challenge, and it involved some practice. It involved some CGI effects that we had to do in post production. but on set we had to use some practical lighting because there's some fire that's produced, and by what we essentially did is we had my gaffer on the floor in the studio, just with a light and a switch, just going like on, off, on. And it was brilliant, you know. I mean, without the effects, without all this computer imagery and everything, it looks rubbish. But because of Nick Evans, the actor who's opposite me in the film, gave a great performance, matched with Joe Gaffer, the lighter, the Joe Sanford, even the gaffer. He lit him up, and then we added some CGI, and then it all just comes together so miraculously. So as a personal sort of, from a director's perspective, that was a nice moment that really pops on screen for me, and I was worried about. So it came off well.
Yeah, because you actually directed the film as well, which comes to my next question. Inspector Calls was really successful, as like nearly to 1 million views really on YouTube. Do you think you'll have the same success with Voodoo Man?
God, you know, it's funny thinking about when I first came on the show, I'd only just released Inspector Calls on YouTube. I mean, you know, it must have had like a couple hundred views at that point, and yeah, we're going to break 1 million at some point, maybe this year, and it's just amazing. It's, you know, I never expected it, and that's been a wonderful thing. And do I expect the same for Voodoo Man? No, I don't expect it. No, you know, I demand my 1 million views for Voodoo Man. But in all honesty, if it has the same success, then I will be delighted. It's much shorter than Inspector Calls, but it's still it's still very much easier to watch. So I suppose if more people are able to watch it because it's just shorter, it's a little more, you know, digestible, then hopefully it does. But we don't know what the future will hold, and if anyone watches it, I'll be happy.
When I watched it, it was so engaging. You just want more. You want it to carry on. You're like, come on, like, where's he going with this? What's happening? And can I just say as well, it's actually quite funny in parts, isn't it? It's actually quite. I think it is. Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this, but the chocolate. I love that part.
Oh, yeah, that's a really pivotal thing, you know, and. I without spoiling, I think it's just a nice moment where out of all of this seriousness and all of this mystical, you pull out a chocolate, and it's like, seriously, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we had a bunch left over after filming, so that was a plus, just having chocolate on set that we had a couple to enjoy. So. You know, pros, the bonuses.
Perks of the job, Jason.
Absolutely.
Which ones were the Thorntons, where they're a Lindell?
Oh, they were these beautiful truffles, and they came from a little independent chocolatier that's near me. So I like supporting them because they're really, they make them all by hand, and they're a nice.
Oh wow!
Yeah, nice independent business.
That's amazing. And I just want to say as well, you're actually an award-winning director, aren't you? Do you want to tell us about your 2 awards you've won? Woohoo! Come on, Jason.
Oh, I mean, you know, it's been great. It's really been great. I've won. We won a few awards. I think we got some production design awards for an Inspector Calls, and this lovely festival, Kazis International Film Festival, gave us Best Feature for an Inspector Calls, which is such a compliment in itself. So. We've been viewed internationally, which is such an honor, and it's, you know, to think that it's gone into, you know, deeper territories and translated to other languages. So, you know, that speaks a lot for the film itself, and I really owe that to the people involved on it, because the team worked mainly as volunteers, and they were friends and family, and as much as I was the director, I couldn't have done it without all the different people that were on it. So it's a delightful accolade, but really I attribute it to everyone who was on it. And then Voodoo Man. Voodoo Man was great. So Voodoo Man is currently doing the festival circuit, and we're waiting to hear back from a couple of festivals, but the Independent Shorts Awards in Los Angeles, they gave us 2 awards. One was Best Mystery Short, which is great. I mean, as a sort of filmmaker, to hear Best Short in any category is like, that's a very cool acknowledgement. Very cool. And then I received an award for Best Actor by the Independent Shorts Awards. And I mean, it's as much as I love the filmmaking, acting really is the passion. And so to receive any sort of acting award is rather it boosts your confidence a lot in what you do, and it makes you particularly as that was something totally different. That the Spanish accent, the whole culture of you and Dia de los Muertos, all of the things that we did, we didn't want to make it insensitive to any cultures. We wanted it to be a celebration inspired by, and so it's a real pleasure to see someone to have a festival acknowledge that and say, no, you did a good job, so well done.
Well, I think next time we'll be seeing you in Hollywood, Jason, eh? LA. Is that the goal?
I would love it. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows where the next 2 years could take me? And I'm open.
Oh, you will. I can see you there. I'm sure of it. I can see you there. What can we see from you from the next adventures then for going forward? Is there anything in the plan or?
Well, as you know, we've been in lockdown for 2 or 3 months now. The whole world has been stuck at home, which has meant there's not a lot of work to do, not a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. But what we've been doing is we've been writing the next feature film, and I've been busy drawing and storyboarding everything that I have. My story is somewhere else in the house. I'd love to show you. I've got this great big book. I've got this huge book that I've been drawing, and it's got like 50 pages worth of storyboards where I've just drawing all of these frames, and we're almost at the point of shooting. So we're that close now, and that is the next feature film, which is coming hopefully next year, 2021.
Wow.
And that, who knows where that'll end up. It could be a YouTube release. It could be that we aim for something bigger. Maybe Amazon Prime would be very, very cool. But in the meantime, we're just, we got to make it first. We got to make it first. And
you will.
Oh, we will. And I'm bringing the whole team from Voodoo Man as well. All my guys. We're all a big family now, and we're really close knit group, and we're all going to make it together, and we're all going to grow together, and so I love that they're all coming back to do this, because I love them. They're my favorite team, and I couldn't do this without them.
It's good when you get on well with your team, isn't it? It's just like a little family, you have fun, and that's what makes it, I think, sometimes when you're on a film set, because it's all about the people you work with, not just about making the film, isn't it? So I think, it's very good fun, and they make it fun as well, But yeah, I mean, I want to wish you all the best with your future career and the films, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your next adventures. And I hope Voodoo is a big success, which I'm sure it will be. It's absolutely fantastic. And thank you for coming back to play it out. It's been an honour to interview you again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
That's all right. It's been a pleasure, and all the best. All the best,
Oh,
Jason.
and to you. Thank you so much. Thanks. It's so good to chat to you. I'll see you soon.